Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
He wanted to make a viral video, Your Honor. You know, he wanted to be famous.
I did want to make a video.
Okay, now see, I was starting to move in your direction. Who was videotaping this?
Me, I set up a camera on a tripod.
So you want to be entertained in addition to being dad. The whole purpose behind law is to right wrong. I want justice to be something that isn't this foreign concept.
Justice knows no boundaries. The truth will be heard. Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Addison Mansell is suing Scott Mansell in the amount of $1,450. Ms. Mansell claims her brother, Mr. Mansell, used his car to remove her son's tooth. Mr. Mansell claims he called a dentist to make sure the method he was using was correct.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. You're suing your brother because something happened to your little boy. What happened to your son?
I'm suing my brother because about 6 months ago I incurred medical expenses because my brother decided it would be a good idea to pull my son's tooth out with a car.
Right, with a car.
Yes.
You decided to pull the tooth out with a car.
Sure, yeah.
What made you decide to do that?
A tooth needs to come out when it gets loose. The little boy's going to lose a lot of teeth. I wanted his first one to have a big impression on him. And I'm a mechanic. I know
This
cars.
was his first tooth that he was losing.
First one coming out, yeah.
And you thought it needed to be a show.
Yeah, make it fun for him.
And what exactly did you do?
I tied a little bit of 10-pound test fishing line to his tooth, handle of the car, and then I didn't even get it over 10 miles an hour. I just sort of pumped the gas and he yanked out.
You didn't even get it over 10 miles an hour. And that yank caused the tooth to come out.
Yeah, just like when you shut the door and the string's attached, you know.
I have heard of that, yes. I've heard of someone, you know, I mean, I've had to pull out a few teeth, and you had an issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, my son could have gotten hurt aside from all the medical expenses that I incurred.
Well, we know he didn't get hurt, but yeah, if I could have, would have, should have. That's not why we're here. He didn't get hurt as a result of the car. You're claiming that something happened to his mouth as a result, though.
I went to the doctor, and they suggested that I put in a bridge. They put in an implant.
Oh, he had to have a bridge and an implant.
And a mouth guard.
And a mouth guard. Your brother is serving as sort of that father figure?
I've been this baby's dad since he came into this world.
What's the boy's name?
Kenny.
What's the relationship between you and Kenny?
Me and Kenny, I'm the best uncle in the world. That's our relationship.
Well, are you the only uncle?
Yeah.
It's easy to be the best when you're the only.
Right.
Huh? All right. And does your son Kenny spend a lot of time with your brother?
Yes, they spend a lot of time together. Scott picks him up from school occasionally. They hang out, takes him out to the ball games and that sort of thing.
Well, then, if he is assuming this father figure role, and you are okay with it, what's the relationship between the two of you?
She's my sister.
Well, I know that, but she's also your sister who's suing you. I mean, why did it have to come to this? Why did you all have to come here to work this out?
Scott's a bit of a wild one. He has a Mustang. He's into those muscle cars. He doesn't have any children of his own.
All right.
So, yes, he's a nice role model for my son, but he's definitely not the brightest and most mature adult.
Okay. Why couldn't you all resolve this without coming to court? You don't feel as though you should have to pay for the injuries that the child sustained?
Not at all. There were no injuries sustained.
But there were medical bills.
There were bills sustained.
Would those medical bills have resulted from just the tooth falling out naturally?
No, they wouldn't.
How do you know that?
Well, they were roughhousing about 6 months ago, and that's when my son came running into the kitchen saying, "Mama, my tooth is loose." Apparently, he whacked himself into the wall.
Is that true?
Our roughhousing was well timed. That tooth was about to get loose on its own.
All right. And do you have a background in dentistry?
I don't. But
He's a
my
mechanic.
girlfriend,
He's a mechanic.
Yes.
my
Okay.
girlfriend is a dental professional, and I consulted her.
Step forward, man. And your last name?
James?
James. And so tell me about your background as it pertains to dentistry.
So I've been working as a dentist hygienist for over 5 years now,
Okay.
and I've been with Scott for 3.
All right.
And prior to Scott doing this, he actually called me.
And he consulted with you saying what?
So he called me and he explained that Kenny's tooth was getting loose. So I was
Well,
actually...
it was already loose at that point, right?
Yes, but he just wanted to double check.
How would he be able to double check with you if you're not there to see the tooth?
I went over for dinner that night and I had a look at Kenny's tooth.
Okay,
They didn't tell me they were planning on doing this.
okay. Do you have children?
No.
If you had children, would you want to know if there's conversations going on about your child that you're not aware of?
Yes, I believe I would.
So you understand where his sister's coming from.
I do, but at the end of the
When
day...
you say but, you negate what you just said. As opposed to saying, yes, she's his mom, period. Yes, we should have consulted, period. He was okay. But when you say, but he was okay, it's like, well, then I don't care that it was his mom. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
All right. And that's the whole issue, right? Because you're like, if you're having a discussion and you're doing all that, hello, mom is right here, right?
Right. I mean, I don't think there was like intention to...
No, I don't get that sense either. And part of the conversation that I'm having is not just even with you all, but for anyone watching, you know, there's certain things that sometimes we just take for granted. When you're a parent, everything's a big deal when it comes to your child.
Thank you.
And you all don't have children, so you may not be as sensitive to that.
But Judge, I'm with this boy every day of his life. I pick him
Right.
up from school the majority of the time. Mom works a lot trying to make ends meet. I'm basically this boy's father in all but paperwork.
Coming up on America's Court.
As quickly as he made a phone call to Heather, he could have made a phone call to me.
That's true. Why didn't you call her?
She's not a dental professional.
And later,
You are a hot mess and you can't get your life together.
Stop.
So
That's why we're here.
closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Addison Mansell, who is suing Scott Mansell for medical expenses.
If he's having to assume responsibilities when you're not there, then he's already sometimes making decisions that you in your absence have said, I'm okay with that.
Right. I mean, but decisions like what are we going to eat for dinner? You know, where are we going to go for ice cream? You know, not medical, you know, necessities and medical decisions. And as quickly as he made a phone call to Heather, he could have made a phone call to me.
That's true. Why didn't you call her?
She's not a dental professional.
That's not the purpose for calling her.
But even if you get a dental professional's advice, you still have to check with the parent before you do anything. You were wrong.
I furthered my role as a parent guardian to this boy. Took it upon myself to contact a professional to make sure that there was no harm done.
Yes.
He wanted to make a viral video, Your Honor. You know, he wanted to be famous.
I did want to make a video.
Yes. Okay, now see, I was starting to move in your direction. Who was videotaping this?
Me, I set up a camera on a tripod.
So you want to be entertained in addition to being dad.
As
Because
I-
even if you were the dad, you said, I'm like a father figure, I'm the only... Dads get in trouble for not consulting with moms, too. Because it's co-parenting.
I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm
I
just
don't
saying
get
he
that
didn't...
sense.
Okay.
But you say he's a little, you know, I'm going to make a video, this is going to be cool.
Yeah,
Let's snatch your tooth out with a car. The car wasn't moving fast, but the whole ideal of it was appealing to you. You're smiling right now like, yeah.
He could have gotten whiplash. You know,
Well, yeah, we can go down the list of things that could have happened. The reality is none of them happened. And what caused the initial loosening of the tooth? What did you do to him?
We were roughhousing. He hit his head on a wall.
Okay, so he is being a dad.
Right.
Okay, he is being a dad in that sense. Did you get a chance to see his mouth after the fact, Ms. James?
Yes, I did.
And what did you
Before
think?
and after.
And what did you think?
The tooth was out. Like, beforehand, you could...
Well, we know the tooth is out now, but when we talk about the bridge, the implant, the mouth guard, did it appear to you that those things were necessary?
From my experience, no.
Okay. And in this case, because those things were done, What's the status of his mouth, his teeth now?
Well, he looks like a fool, Your Honor. You know, if I didn't have that implant put in, he would just have a hole in the middle of his mouth.
Well, at some point the tooth's there was a baby tooth, right?
Right, but I mean, the adult tooth pushes it down, so when the baby teeth fall out, you know, you've got the adult teeth, you know, already coming in.
Right. But it takes, but I'm saying if he's 9, that tooth was going to come out anyway. It's not like it was a permanent tooth.
Right.
Somebody's got to pay this bill. You know your sister doesn't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
So who should pay it?
I don't think I should pay because the boy was in
I
the
didn't
room.
ask you that. I said who should.
Be real.
I think because the visit was unnecessary, she should pay the cost.
Got it. Based on this information, judgment in the plaintiff in the amount of $1,450. That is the order. Case closed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $1,450.
It was really unfortunate that I had to bring my brother to court over my son, but now I think the judge has made my brother realize that it was ultimately his responsibility.
I understand the judge's decision, and I don't care about the money as long as I get to keep my nephew in my life.
And coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
This is our life story. This is how it's always been. I'm always there to catch her fall. I take care of her. This is what we do. We have a sister relationship. I'm the responsible one, always taking care of her, the irresponsible one.
I take care of her,
do
too. I take
everything
care of
for
her,
you.
too.
I do everything for you, and you're just a freaking hot mess. You are a hot mess.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Larissa Edmonds is suing Carrie Mills in the amount of $1,200. Ms. Edmonds claims that Ms. Mills uninvited her to a wedding after she paid for travel and a bridesmaid's dress. Ms. Mills claims the plaintiff was uninvited because she didn't fit into the bridesmaid dress.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. Ms. Mills, we got a dress here, so we're going to talk about this dress and why you deserve $1,200.
Yes.
What's the deal with the dress?
Well, I'm suing my ex-best friend for $1,200 because she kicked me out of her wedding on the day of because the dress busted open.
The dress busted open.
Mm-hmm.
Did you kick her out of the wedding party?
Yeah.
Yes.
But she did sign a contract saying if she didn't meet all the requirements that she wouldn't attend. So,
I'm sorry. She signed a contract to be in the wedding?
yes.
Is that what people are doing now? I've never heard of that.
Apparently.
What made you think of that?
I wanted everything in order, and certain things have happened in the past that made me want to create a contract.
Well, how many times have you been married?
Once.
Well, you said things have happened in the past.
That she has done. We've been best friends for 10 years.
How many women were part of your wedding bridal
7.
party?
7.
Did all 7 have to sign contracts?
Yes.
You had all 7 women sign a contract to be a bridesmaid.
Yes.
And what did the contract say?
It said a lot of things. It said you had to meet.
You have a copy of it?
I don't have it with me.
Okay.
But it's been through emails and.
What did it say?
It was ridiculous. We couldn't color our hair. We had to maintain our figures for months. We couldn't get pregnant. Like, that's not something you can control. You know, life happens.
Are you for real?
Not exactly in those words. They could color their hair naturally, but they couldn't use any specific like green or red.
No drastic change in hair. No drastic change in your appearance or weight.
Right, but after the alteration, so 3 weeks before the wedding,
I'm still
you
stuck
have
on the
to fit
contract.
into the dress.
We can't even get to the dress until I finish hearing about the contract. Was that it?
She had become a bridezilla, honestly.
Well, duh.
Yeah. She was stressing about every little detail.
What else was in the contract that you willingly, knowingly, and understandably signed? Because you signed it, right?
Yes, I did.
Did she say if you don't sign it, you're not in the wedding?
She didn't explicitly say it, but it was pretty understood that
it was stated in the contract that if you can't meet these requirements, you can't be in the wedding.
You're out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Coming up on America's Court.
This is our life story. This is how it's always been. I'm always there to catch her fall. I take care of her. This is what we do. We have a sister relationship. I'm the responsible one, always taking care of her, the irresponsible one.
I take care of her,
do
too. I take
everything
care of
for
her,
you.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Larissa Edmonds, who is suing Carrie Mills for travel and wedding expenses.
What did she do that caused her to be kicked out of the wedding?
She busted open the dress that I had paid for.
You paid for the dress?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, it is true.
All right. How much was the dress, the value?
$375.
All right. You're not suing to have the monies returned to you for the dress?
No, she's my friend. I would never do that to her.
Okay. That's funny. She doesn't have any problem doing it to you, though. So what's the $1,200 for?
It's for the hotel and a flight. I had to fly across the country to be at her wedding. And I had already made all the plans to be there.
I understand that, but what is really the reason why we're here?
Well, I don't mind spending money if it's for my friend, but since we're not friends anymore, I might as well get back what I lost.
Most of the time when people get married, there's a fitting, the dress, and everything's perfect, right? You go to the event, and while you're in the dress, so I take it at this point, you had taken pictures. Were you in the midst of doing all that? Because you have the dress on, right?
It was while we were getting ready for the wedding.
And while you were getting ready, so what happened? What caused the dress to, was it a malfunction on the manufacturer's part?
It was that she didn't try on the dress. Okay, I had all my bridesmaids get alterations prior to the wedding, and I asked them to try their dress on 3 days before the wedding. If
And
they
I
need
did.
any
I
last-minute
did.
alterations to make sure that it fit perfect. There's no way you tried the dress on anywhere close to the wedding. There's no way you could gain that much weight in 3 days.
That dress has no give at all.
If you thought you would gain weight, ask to leave a little more room. These are things you tell the person who's altering your dress.
It did fit when I tried it on. She told me in front of everyone in the bridal party, "Larissa, if you can't get your life together, you can't be in my wedding."
Well, what does her life have to do with it?
Because this is her life story. This is how it's always been. I'm always there to catch her fall. I take care of her. This is what we do. We have a sister relationship. I'm the responsible one, always taking care of her, the irresponsible one.
I take care of her,
do
too. I take
everything
care of
for
her,
you.
too.
I do everything for you, and you're just a friggin' hot mess.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
I do everything from you, and you're just a friggin' hot mess. You are a hot mess, and you can't get your life together.
Stop.
So,
That's why we're here. If the dress malfunctioned for whatever reason and she's being anal about the whole endeavor, part of being a friend is saying, you know what, it's all about you. I don't want you stressing. I'll just sit down. I'll show you love from the audience.
and she didn't do that once. Every other bridesmaid did that but her. They all were there to support me.
She didn't lash
I was
out on
supporting
any other
her.
bridesmaid.
Honestly, the worst part about this entire thing was when I bought the dress, you didn't even say thank you.
Well, maybe you just shouldn't have a relationship with her. But if you expect this court to pay you for doing what a friend would normally do, that's not going to happen. Your matter is dismissed. Case closed.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
I'm happy with the ruling, but I have spent way too long taking care of Larissa. I'm done.
All I wanted was to support Carrie. Hopefully we can move on.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production of